Savage. What's going on, Savages? Welcome to another episode of the Savage Snowflake Podcast with me, Jeff Leach, your friend, your father, your teacher, your diligent student, your mother, your brother, and maybe the friend next door who comes over to borrow sugar, and you're like, I got no sugar. I say, that's all right, I can take agave nectar instead. I'm that guy. Thanks very much for being here for another episode. We've had some great episodes over the last few weeks. Very, very proud of the guests we've had. We had Gatter, of course, Little Dickie's hype man. We've had Brian Callen. We also had Neil Brennan as well, writer and comedian. So if you want to check out any of those podcasts, remember to head to youtube.com/Jeff Leach TV. You can see the full video episodes there. Alternatively, I'm sure you'll listen to this on, I don't know, Spotify maybe, or iTunes, or Google Play, or SoundCloud, or all of them at once. Why not download every single one of them and push us up the rankings? Thank you very much, of course, as well to our sponsors. Look, Mr. Dan TB up here, our $35 sponsor a month, and all of the other lovely people who are donating anything between $1 and $50 a month. I appreciate you very much indeed. Thanks for keeping this bad boy going. If you're not yet a sponsor and you're one of the 37,000 people listening, what is wrong with you? Do me a favor. Go throw me a buck. I'll be the radio version of a stripper for you. I'll twerk. I'll send you pictures to your DMs, whatever you need me to do. Head to patreon.com/SavageSnowflake and show your support there. Alternatively, maybe you want to buy something from our wonderful sponsors, manscaped.com, refining the gentleman. Lads, if you're like me, a big boy, got a nice big hairy chest, maybe your downstairs area was a little unkempt. Sort your life out. Go to their website, manscaped.com. Grab the Lawnmower 2.0 or one of their other wonderful pieces of equipment over there. If you use code SAVAGE, you will not only get 20% off every single order, you will get free shipping and a free leather travel bag worth $49.99. That's manscaped.com, code SAVAGE. You're welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is a mix-up from the last three beautiful boys I had. Now I've got a very glamorous lady. Not just a glamorous lady, but an incredibly talented one as well.
Thanks.
It's Miss E.G. Daly,
Thanks.
Actress and musician, I've just found out. I didn't realise you were a rock star as well.
Did you do some research?
Of course I did some research,
Okay.
yeah.
What'd you see?
Had a little look. I saw you singing and rocking out, and then I saw you doing a performance with one of your friends, with your band, and then you sang a song with the voice of Tommy from the Rugrats.
Yeah, we do that sometimes.
Yeah, it was, which is kind of fusing your two worlds. I like that.
Yeah, it's all about the voice.
Now, you're a prolific voice actress. I think you're one of those characters that people go, oh, E.G. Daly, do I know her? And then you'll go, oh, I do this. They go, oh, yeah, I've seen every single one of those animated movies or TV series. How does a glamorous lady like yourself, land herself the role, I guess, of one of the most prolific voice artists out here working in Hollywood?
Well, do you want to know how I booked, like, for instance, Rugrats is probably the biggest, most renowned, or no?
I want to know how
you in general?
You know, you clearly have multiple talents. You're not just an actress.
Yeah.
You're also a musician. You know, and I wondered how you ended up in that profession.
I'll tell you.
As being that's the money maker.
I'll tell you. So, being that I've been a singer my whole life and an actress my whole life, people see me in like different movies. Mm-hmm. So then I got to this place where I was like, I wanted to be singing, but I didn't feel like putting a band together because it's a lot of work, and I had to pay everyone, and then we
bassists are lazy,
all that stuff. It
wasn't die.
Yeah, people just didn't want to do it because, and back then I didn't have the money to pay everybody. So then I got offered to do this play. So I was like, I want to do this play.
Okay.
And they said, well, it's a musical, and we're shipping the sets from Broadway to Los Angeles. Would you be down for doing this role? And I was like, what do I have to do? And they're like,
were you still based in?
I was here in LA. I was in LA.
Okay.
This play they did in New York, it was called Tansy, and it starred Deborah Harry on Broadway in New York.
Nice.
So it folded on Broadway after a few days. So they shipped the sets to LA, and they asked me if I wanted to do the role, which was...
you were taking over from Debbie Harry.
Yeah,
that's
she's amazing.
Nice,
it was pretty nice. And I guess it just didn't fit right, or just didn't work in New York, but it worked in LA. So they shipped it to LA, and then I had to train to be a female wrestler. And then they said, you'll be singing throughout the play. It's a musical. That's really all I wanted to do, was I missed being out live. And so I was like, I'll do the play because I get to sing, and you guys will put the band together.
What kind of wrestling were you doing?
Pro wrestling.
Because I used to host a show called Lucha
Naked?
Britannia. I've been naked, yes, on that stage actually. But I used to host a show called Lucha Britannia, where they kind of fuse what we would expect, the pro WWE wrestling style of America, and then also luchador wrestling.
Oh, cool!
And it was all very flamboyant, lots of burlesque and gorlesque performances.
Oh, we didn't do that.
Like pretty rock and roll stuff.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And did you enjoy it?
This was, I really enjoyed it. It was hard because it hurt, because I was having to I was flipping a guy bigger than you, and you're a big guy.
Big lad.
Over my big lad.
I'm a big lad.
and I would flip them over my back, and I was like doing the belly flops and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was cool training and learning. And once I got past the actual pain in my neck and figuring out how to fall right,
Well,
it was
it's
awesome.
Slapping the mat as you go.
Oh my God.
Right,
But there's a certain way to, but there's a way to slap that it works.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I did this play, and then I started singing this play, and then it became this huge hit, and I ended up winning all these awards, these like actress awards and best musical performer awards. And then some guy came to me during that play and handed me his card and said, you should do voices. You got this thing with your voice. Now in the play, I had to do different age ranges of voices. I had to,
Right.
It was about a female wrestler. So each round of the play, I was a different age.
Okay.
So I was aging my voice
So
up.
throughout the acts, you kind of
So I'd be
mature
like,
over the course of the story.
So I'd be like a baby, and then I'd be like, hi, I'm Tansy, and then I'd be 5, and then I was 10, and then 16, and into an adult. And so this guy handed me his card and said, you should really look into voiceover. You can do these voices really well.
And when was this? Like,
This was in the 80s.
Oh, this is back in the 80s.
It's a long time ago. Yeah. And so I was kind of like, I guess I'll try it. You know, I was like, I'm an actor, I'm a singer. I don't really know much about cartoons. You know what I mean? And then
I like that you were immediately kind of like, okay, yeah, I want to give this
very
a
open.
go.
Yeah,
because I know that a lot of my I do voice work as well myself,
Yeah.
and a lot of my straight acting friends almost turn their nose up a little bit at the voice acting world, which also as an avid video gamer, I know without good voice acting, those stories would completely fall flat. You know,
voice is great, but also it requires really great actors.
Yes.
It's not just you can't just be like a good voice or have a cool voice. You have to be a really great actor to
and
be
you
a voice
don't
actor.
have the facial recognition
Can't use your
to be
face.
able to do it. So
No.
you have to really translate that emotion.
Yeah. So you close your eyes and you have to be able to hear the whole soul of that person with just your eyes closed. So
Yeah.
it's like Tommy Pickles, like, oh, I don't know, Chucky, that's not such a good idea. You know, it's like you close your eyes and then it's just the little guy comes out, and I don't. You know, I'm not physically little and a little boy.
You don't look like Tommy Pickles. No. I can confirm that.
No.
If you're listening,
but I do have a round face, and he has a round face. But he's a boy. I like that. Anyway, so I did this play, and then that's what happened. Then I ended up getting this card, and I got my first audition, which was for some radio commercial. And I didn't really know how to do radio either. I didn't know anything. But he goes, go on this radio commercial. I went on it, and it was for like some record. So it was like Corey Hart, the new album on EMI. It was one of those.
One of those sexy ones.
Yeah, I'd never done that either, but I thought, I listen to that stuff. I know how to do that.
Yeah.
So I just kind of mimicked, and then I booked it. And then the very first cartoon I ever went up for, he goes, go in on this audition. It was for a little boy claymation character. And I was like, okay. I went on this audition. I actually wasn't going to go in on it because I was having carpet put in my apartment. And I was like, oh, no, I can't do it this time. I'm working on my, but I wasn't going to go.
I mean, you can't let down the carpet, man.
No, I didn't want to. I didn't want to, but.
Your toes needed that softness.
Yeah, but I did. I let him work without me there, and I went to the audition, and that was Tommy Pickles. So my very first cartoon I ever auditioned for was Tommy Pickles.
So how was the carpet?
The carpet came out great because I booked the job.
It was a double whammy.
It was great, and then that turned out to be 14 years of my life.
I mean, I used to watch Rugrats when I was a kid growing up, and absolutely loved it.
What were your favorite episodes? Do you remember?
I mean, I was
there's
a child. I don't remember.
And there's so many.
7,000 episodes to choose.
Yeah, there's so many.
It was one of the longest running kids programs that I used to watch.
And they just got a reboot, so they're going to be doing more.
Oh, fantastic! And there's been movies as well. They did
movies, features. They just ordered 26 new episodes and a feature film, so that's really cool.
Now, that's such an identifiable voice.
Yeah.
And once you've done one voice that is so kind of poignantly you, is it hard to then go, okay, well, no, I can push my voice to all these different ranges and to show people that in the industry at least?
Yeah, well, like I didn't really know anything about voiceover, but I knew that I was a singer, so I could contort my voice any way I wanted. I could go from like, I have a little husky tone to my speaking voice anyway, but I could go from this to like, I don't really like juice. You know, I would go from that to a little girl, like, I don't like you very much.
See, I can't do infant voices.
You can't?
Well,
you have a big rich man voice.
It's so, my voice is so like, but I do old men incredibly
That's great.
well. So I can do that. I can go up to the top
Yeah, because
range.
you have a certain timbre where you can't.
You know what it is? It's just inside I feel 80.
Yeah, that's what it is.
When I stand up and sit down now, I make weird sounds.
That's what it is.
One of those.
Yeah. Yes, like an old lady. Anyway, it's a really cool. So basically, it's voice. You know, I think for me, I really channel little kids a lot. Like I really feel especially because little kids have weird speech impediments. Like they do things like, but mom, I don't really like that so much. You know, they do little weird things.
Creepy watching you.
It's so creepy. Yeah, it is creepy, right? But it's so fun and it's so free.
I would be employing that in my personal life just to freak people out whenever I can. If you're at a party, a rock and roll party, and there's big mounds of cocaine everywhere. Obviously, you don't ever touch that stuff. But if there were, and you were at a party like that, I'd love to just turn on the infant voice.
A little sniff. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good. Yeah. So yeah.
So that's how you got into it.
So that's how I got into it. So it was pretty like faithful, and that's what we were talking about. It's like I really try to like be open to things. Like I did a seminar. I did a one-woman show, and I did a seminar that's on my website. But I talked about in the voiceover seminar how important it is to like listen to the little taps on your shoulder, like the little voice that says like, try that thing. And you're like, no, I'm doing this. This is my career. This is where I'm going. But it's like, no, try that thing. Offshoots. I call them offshoots.
I'm very much in support of what you just said there, because I feel like the biggest periods of success in my career back in the UK when I was doing lots of TV work was because I said yes to things. And I just wanted to try things. And as soon as I started garnering a certain level of success where you go, well, now I'm doing this and maybe I can't really do those projects because, I'm really going for this kind of stuff. That's when things slowed slightly. And it's only now that I'm in America and rebuilding a career on this side of the pond that I've gone back to just going, if it seems fun, if it seems interesting, do it. Because what's the worst going to happen? You fucking hate it and you've learned that lesson. You go, all right.
I mean, I said yes to a card that was handed to me at a play. Try this voice thing. I was like, okay.
And that's led to one of the most successful streams of
but not only that, but it also
creativity. And
it really did. And then I realized that I could go from being like Tommy Pickles to like Bagheera and Jungle Cubs and play like a teen boy to like little, it's just like I realized that, I could do so much with my voice beyond what I do as a person or as an actor here with this body and with my voice as a singer here. But it's like I'm whoa, turn that off. With all the incredible art there is to do, like there's movies and I even do like on camera now. Like I did Rob Zombie's. I've done a couple of Rob Zombie movies on camera. Did you see them?
I didn't see the movie. I saw that you had done them in my research.
So the last movie I played a character named Sexhead, and what was so cool about that character is Rob is always very into wardrobe, so he already knows what he's putting me in,
right? Because
of my body and my size, and he put me in these like little bloomers and black tape X's and like very minimal. But what was so cool was that he wanted me to do something weird with my voice. So I got to be like a cartoon in my own body, which is really cool.
I mean, some of the greatest on-screen roles are, exaggerated cartoons. So whether it be, a Harley Quinn in a joke, I understand that comes from, from the comics, but
that's what it is. That's the most fun acting anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Grotesque and larger than life characters.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I love things like anything like that. So like Sexhead says things like see you later, Popeye. She's like, and she's a real character, so it's so much fun and it's so limitless.
You've already established that you by saying yes to things that open up these routes that have ended up, I'm assuming, buying houses and affording you college educations for your kids, etc., or their futures, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
However, when the little voice comes up and says yes, are there any other little voices that ever say, if you weren't doing the voiceover or all these voice characters, what could you have done with even more bigger with the music, for instance, or something like that?
Yeah, sometimes it's about getting quiet enough to hear the voice that is that kind of God. I always talk about the God voice, the voice that's like much bigger than you are, much higher thinking. So sometimes you'll get a voice like, for me, the voice when the play was like, I want to be singing. That was like a really passionate thing for me. And then the universe brings you like an opportunity, like, hey, do you want to do this play? It's a musical. You get to sing. So I was like, okay, that ties into my passion. That ties into what I love. And sometimes it's tricky. Like, as much as I like to do things, sometimes people will call me and be like, can you come do my talk show thing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I love doing it, but it's like there is a little voice that I have to make sure it's in alignment with the big part of me that's doing really beautiful big things, or if I'm just people pleasing. And that's the tricky place, is like,
am I just saying an overarching goal, but then allowing these small, the route to get there doesn't necessarily have to be as linear.
I think a good key, I think a really good key is how your body feels when somebody asks you to do something. It's like, when your body gets kind of like, that sounds kind of fun. Like I always call it the hell yeah or the hell no. So it's like, do you get a hell yeah in your body? Like, hell yeah, that feels good. Because if it's a hell yeah, it's not a hell no. But if it's a hell no, it can't be a hell yeah. So if you get like a voice like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. That doesn't feel good at all. But they're like hustling you and trying to sell you on something that feels off to you. You got to listen to that, like the body. I think you listen to your body. That's the key, because that's really your divine voice. Yeah.
Another. I'm not sure about. I'm not necessarily. I mean, I'm certainly not a religious person. I'm definitely spiritual, and I believe in greater powers that tie us all together. Yeah. But I do. Again, maybe this is. It feels like I'm maybe going through a period of change that you've already embraced and
tell me
through.
about that.
Well, no, I just mean that you know, saying that listening to your body in every single thing that I do now.
Yeah.
I used to hold a lot of things in or push against things because
pride.
Because I wasn't listening to what my body was telling me to do.
Oh, okay.
And just on a
or was it a pride thing? Was it like, I'm not doing that?
No, I think it was. I think it comes out of being very driven as a child. Being told that you really got to go after the specific thing you're doing.
Yeah.
For the first part of my career, all I ever got told was, "What are you? Are you a comedian?
Yeah,
or are you a TV host? Or are you an actor?"
Yeah.
And that's England. They go, you have to be one thing.
I get it.
And it really fucked me up because it puts your odds against what your body is telling you, which is, I want to do all these things and I want to enjoy doing these things.
Yeah, and you don't know what thing is going to lead you to everything.
There you go.
You don't know.
I just saw Jeremy Renner playing piano in a jazz bar.
Yeah.
And we talked briefly, and he was saying that that was always a huge passion of his.
Yeah.
And he's an incredibly bright guy. The guy's like a immense academic mind,
Yeah.
And but then those opportunities, by moving back on that slightly, led him to his acting career, which obviously is immensely successful.
Yeah, but who knew that
he gets to play in any fucking jazz bar he wants because he's Jeremy Renner.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So it is. Yeah, it's really important to be open, to like be a little bit movable.
Exactly.
A little bit movable. It's good to be clear about what you want too, because I think if you're not clear about what you want, then you just go all over the place with no focus. But I think that the things that lead you to what you want is just keep saying yes to those things that make you excited. That even if it's not quite on your track, but it's like, that sounds kind of fun. I kind of like that. And everybody's like, no, but it's not. Every time I've said yes to something that was random, but sort of in kind of the realm of what I like to do, but not quite, those things led me to, for instance, that one play that I said yes to because I wanted to be singing. Mm-hmm. So that was the ultimate thing. It was like, I want to sing. I don't want to put a band together. I want to pay everybody. I don't have the money. So that one yes to that play, I ended up like getting a major record deal. Mm-hmm. I sang like 3 songs. That was it. Mm-hmm. I sang live 3 songs. And all these labels were like, oh my God, there's this girl there who sings live and she's killing it. And opening night, it had moved to an Equity Theater production. It went from Equity Waiver to Equity. And opening night, there were labels there, big labels. And they were all telling me like, oh my God, there's all these labels here to see you. And I was like, I don't want to hear. Don't talk to me.
Tell me that before.
Yeah, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. Yeah, it was too much pressure. But there were labels and I got a massive record deal from a major label because, again, not because I was looking for, that was one of my things was to get to get a deal. But
it's because you were following those things.
I was just following anything and sometimes doing open mics. Like I've done open mics at places. I still do them sometimes.
What, stand up?
No, that's your job.
I was gonna say.
No.
When I hear open mic, I think stand up comedy.
Yeah.
But you're talking about music.
No, you can go and pick up your guitar and go play in a open mic somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime that was like when I first started doing like really getting more back into my singing. It was like I would just go. I was like, what do I do? I really want to get back into my
Tuesday
singing.
Night,
I would go do it. And every time I do that, then there would be some guy would be like, oh my God, you're amazing. Can we give you a night at such and such a club? And I'm like, there you go.
Yeah.
Every time you say yes to something that makes you feel good, that's in your passion, and not always looking at the monetary thing. It's not the reason why I came here today.
There is a. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
Finish
I don't want you to forget what you were going to say.
That's all right. No, I was going to just say that as there is also the element that as soon as you've embraced that I'm going to be in the creative arts, that's what my passion, that's what my career choice will be.
Yeah.
There is that toss up between wanting to do what feels right, wanting to create the kind of content you want to create, but then also you got to do something to keep a roof over your head. That can sometimes be a hard toss up. I'm sure certainly you are, and I know that I've been for a few years now in a position where I'm fortunate enough not to have to stress too much.
Yeah.
But I do feel for people who say, "Oh, I want to be this creative entity," but then they find very little time to be able to do that because they got to go and work two shifts at two different jobs.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it is. There is a balance because you do want to be responsible and you want to take care. You want to be self-supporting, so you don't feel like icky about yourself, and then you're not. Then you're not at the effect of people doing things really that you really don't want to do. But like having a decent, somewhat of a part-time income earning job, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a very dignified thing to say.
Sure.
And again, I also believe like you don't want to put too much energy in your B job, because you'll turn it into your A job.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. So there is a fine line of like, I have to earn, I have to be accountable to myself. But sometimes you can find cooler ways to do that are still in alignment with your work.
Did you always have this kind of drive and business acumen even when you were a small girl growing up?
I had a really strong visceral passion for making something happen. I didn't know how. I didn't have a family that was in Hollywood that the word I kept using was like nepotism. People have nepotism here. I don't have any I have like European, French, Tunisian Jews that traveled here in a trailer. My parents.
Where was home growing up when you were a kid?
Well, home was like West Hollywood.
Okay.
I mean, that's where I was raised in West Hollywood.
So you're in the locale, but you didn't necessarily have
I didn't know anyone.
Privileged trappings.
No, I had no privilege.
Yeah.
We had an average little home. We didn't have anything fancy. We didn't travel. We didn't go on fancy vacations. We went in a camper trailer and camped
down the mines. And
it was pretty, but there was nothing.
Mother was a nurse.
Yes. Yeah. There was nothing fancy, but my parents were, there was nothing fancy. So I didn't have any connection to like all the really hip people or the really people that know how to just do the hip people scene and stay connected to all the people that are the A-listers and know what they're doing. I didn't know anything about that. As a matter of fact, most of my friends are like the smorgasbord of the weirdest people you've ever met.
Yeah.
And I tell them to their face because they're all so beautiful.
They're the best people.
They're so beautifully weird. I mean, my friends are all bizarre and they're all, they're just all, I don't want to say anything that would come off negative to anybody because all my friends are just amazing. But yeah, I just the
most interesting people in the world are the waifs and strays, the lunatics.
I like
and the
those.
lovers.
I like those people. I've dated a lot of those too, but try not to do that.
I can tell
anyway.
by the tattoos. We got a little rock star going.
I'm trying not to do that anyway. Though. Too much strays and scragglers. But what I was going to say is the reason why I came to do your podcast, to be honest with you, was because I saw
Instagram photos.
You're pretty hot, but
thanks very much.
That wasn't it. So I'm not going to blow your head up.
I've got wet hair now.
No, the reason why I actually was willing to do it because I got a lot of requests to do podcasts.
Okay.
And I also don't throw myself out to everybody. I'm like these days I don't.
Wait, you didn't tell me what was the reason. Why were you?
I'm going to tell you that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
The reason why I was willing to do your podcast was because I saw you in Vegas because I was doing 80s and
you stand up there.
Yeah, I was doing 80s in the desert. 80s in the desert.
I completely forgot that's how we connected.
Yeah, I was doing an event called 80s in the Desert. That was a whole thing. Like I've had some big hits in the 80s.
They had loads of musicians like yourself.
They had kick-ass 80s musicians, but they also had like people from movies in the 80s. So since I was in Valley Girl and Pee-wee's Big Adventure and I'm Tommy Pickles, I signed autographs at certain conventions. So I was doing a convention there, meet and greeting fans, and we got one of the guys that was there was the comedian right before you. What's his name?
Greer Barnes. Oh no, before me.
Maybe he was after you.
Black guy.
No.
So not Greer Barnes.
Tattoos, maybe.
Tattoos.
No, maybe not.
Dean Del Rey.
Dean
Del Rey.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it was Dean.
Dean
but anyway,
Del Rey,
he was at the event and he was like, "Oh, I'm doing comedy tonight. You should come see me." So I was like, that was like a hell yeah. What else are we gonna do in Vegas?
The body said hell yeah, so you followed it.
Yeah, I said hell yeah, and my friend and I had such a good time, and you were so good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you were really good, but you were really funny. I was
gonna been awkward if I'd sucked, right?
And I would not be here.
Hey, come on to a podcast. You'd be like, no, I'm okay. No,
you wouldn't have known me. You wouldn't have connected to me. I found you, and no. I don't know how that
did. Yeah, I think you messaged and just said I was at the show.
I just want to let you know that you did a great job.
Which, by the way, is actually how some of the best people have been on this podcast, including yourself. Like Seth Green did the podcast.
Great.
And that's because of just paying him a nice compliment at an event that we were both at San Diego Comic Con. We were both at. I was there hosting, and he was there obviously pitching. I think must have been some Adult Swim stuff he was promoting.
Yeah.
And same with Brian Callen. We performed together in Venice Beach at a small club down there. And I took the time to do what you did, which was just to reach out and say, hey, I just saw you go up after me.
Yeah.
And you were, I just want to say, man, I think you're incredible. And like whatever's happening for you, I hope it goes tenfold because you deserve it.
Yeah.
And people don't do that in this town because they're very fucking insecure about... They don't want to admit that someone might be better than them, or they don't want to admit that they...
Or feel like you're like, you know, doing this to anyone. You're like kind of, oh, you were really great. I don't come from that. I was coming from, he's super talented. I'm all about honoring talented, super people. I love all that. So that's what it was. Can you call me Your Grace, please? With your
Grace,
voice. Yeah, I love that.
Your
I wanted you to call...
Your
That's what I was
Majesty?
thinking when you did your stand-up. I was like, I just want him to call me Your Grace. With that accent.
I think, well, I mean, the queen bee.
I'm just messing with you. Anyway, so that's a really big part of the whole thing is, and it's even clearer now. Like nowadays, I think it's even clearer that it's really important that you seek out people that are doing what you do. That if you're a writer, write music with people, reach out to people. If you're a comedian, hang out with people that are doing cool shows and hang out with them. If you're an actor, go to some great classes. You know, because that's how you're in alignment with people, and that's how things happen. Like all the coolest things in my career have happened because I kept staying and trying to connect to people that were in alignment with what I wanted to do, and like I said, I struggled because I wasn't in the big mix of all the like really cool happening people.
All the really cool big happening
they're right
people. Here. They are right here in this room right now, looking at each other across your Grace. But I do think there's an element that anyone who's being given that kind of attention or talking about how cool they are and what they're doing, those people more often than not, are not doing those things, and they're normally hoping that something that it might manifest that itself because they say it enough times. Yeah. Whereas I find the coolest people are the ones who get their heads down and work hard. Yeah. Or they're the ones who, on a Tuesday night, if I'm feeling a bit lonely, go to a local little shitty dive bar and I'll see a random guy or a random lady at the end of the bar and just start talking to them. Yeah. Some of those have ended up being the coolest people that I know as well. I agree.
And I agree. It's good to do that.
I'm interested that you recommend the classes because I feel like in Los Angeles especially, and you've talked about the sort of the nepotism of this town and how it is. I think there's also a lot of charlatans out here. That's what I found in the year that I've been in LA. Yeah. There's a lot of people talking a great talk about what they're doing and do my class, and then you look up their credits or what they've done. You're like, no, you tried to do a thing, it didn't really work out, and good on you for finding another way to to make ends meet, but they kind of almost sell a dream without the knowledge or the wisdom to really pass that on.
Yeah, so you want to do, that's right, why the universe, I was going to say the internet is so good because you can...
Same thing now, isn't it?
It's really the same thing. It's so scary. But you can research and you do want to research people. You want to know they've walked the talk. They're walking the talk. Talking the walk?
Walking the walk as well as talking the talk.
Yeah, you want to make sure of that.
But I'd rather than walk the talk.
I did a voiceover seminar. I think I can say that I've walked. I'm talking the walk.
You've talked and walked.
Yeah, I've walked and talked. I'm kind of tired, but I can only say and the thing about the seminar that you guys can get it on egdaily.com, but it's a digital download. But I filmed it in front of an audience, and the reason why I did that was because everybody kept saying, "How do I get into voiceover?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, I would try to help people because I want to help people.
When someone has reached the level of success in their chosen or one of their chosen industries, like you have, that's the kind of person you want to watch talk about how they did it because you're actually going to walk away learning something. Yeah,
but I couldn't be teaching everybody one-on-one, even though people come up to me at conventions and say, "Oh my God, I really want to learn," and I give them tips and stuff because I really believe like you get to keep what you have. Mm-hmm. I really love this theory. You get it from something else, but it's some other spiritual thing. But you get to keep what you have if you give it away. Like you don't get to keep cool stuff until you start to learn to teach it and share it. Yeah. It's like it'll be taken away from you at some point. So I feel like it's really important that when you've accomplished a certain amount of things or success, that it's really important to be able to share it. And so I couldn't share it with one person. So I did this seminar. And the thing I was going to say is in the seminar, I really got into not just voiceover and the tips and the tools and the how-tos and how to get your reel made and how to really learn, even if you don't have money, how you can learn. You'd have to buy my seminar first, but it's not too much. But then you could learn. Yeah. But then you could learn, like, there's ways to learn how to do voiceover without, having to go to a class if you don't have the funds. Not everybody has the funds. So I have a lot of compassion for everyone who wants to learn. And I say there are tips and tools where you don't have to spend a lot of money. Sure. But in the voiceover seminar, I also just talk about life stuff in the journey that I've had with, having had records out, and I've had like dance hits all over the world, and I've had many. If you go to YouTube, I have like many music videos out of songs that I write. I've been on many soundtracks, many TV soundtracks. I'm the 2.5 Men theme song girl.
There you go.
You know, the manly men. Woo-hoo. Yeah, it's like all these things, but it's cumulative. Like all these things have happened over years and years and years. And
the irony being that Michael, what's his name, Charlie Sheen plays the jingle writer in that show, and you are literally the jingle singer. Yeah.
I'm the jingle. Period. And the jingle everywhere. I like to be the jingle.
I mean, talking about passing on, your knowledge and your wisdom and your the lessons, the life lessons that you learn. Yeah. You also do that with as a family woman as well. I mean, like you've got 2 daughters, right?
They're amazing.
Who are both like their mums, supermodels, ridiculous.
Hey, they're cool.
And one of them's a singer, or both?
They're both singers. Yeah, they're both singers. Okay. And one's a singer and an actress. Okay. It's The Hunter Daily on Instagram. Yep. The Hunter Daily, and the other one is Tyson, and she goes by I Am Not Mike Tyson on Instagram. There you go. And they're both really incredible, and they're both artists, and they're both writers and singers, and it's
now. Are you scared because as a lady who created her own career, and then had to watch as we always have to do if we didn't have parents who were in the industry. Yeah. The level of nepotism and favoritism and who's fucking who and who's talking to who and who's friends with who. Is it a little scary to go, ooh, I really want to encourage my children to thrive and to succeed in their chosen creative passions. Yeah. But I also want to make sure they do it on their own, and that my success isn't, too much of the reason they're afforded opportunities. It's a hard balance, right?
It is. I mean, I want to give them every opportunity because, I'm a mother. So you want nothing but, only the best opportunities and the most beautiful ride I could give them. That's what I want. Yeah. However, no matter how much I have or what I've done or my reputation or my work, no matter what I've done, they still have to be really good at what they do. Yeah. Now they have nepotism because they have me. Yeah. But they still aren't going to get the opportunities unless they're really good. And my job was to say, you better be great at what you do. Because the one thing that I worked on my whole life, with or without, I had no connections, no family members, was I wanted to be really good at what I do. So like I really worked my voice out. I studied voice. I worked my voice every day. I practiced. We had an intercom in our house when I was a kid, and it was just a little intercom, and you could if you press the button in the day, you would hear me up in my room like singing. Yeah. Like I worked it out. I worked out acting. I studied with every major great teacher you could study with. I mean, hopefully all of them. I love learning.
My lady's a singer and singer-songwriter, and the level of work she does is well, I mean, actually I would say we're similar. We work incredibly hard at what we do, but it's inspiring that as soon as she's up in the morning, as soon as she's in the shower, she's doing all of her vocal exercises, and then that just doesn't stop throughout the day.
That's amazing. I mean, that's
really awkward during sex when she's just belting out arias.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Really short ones, 2.5 minute ones, because that's all we got time for during sex, obviously.
No, that's pretty good. But yeah, see. Practice makes better. Yeah.
It's not very Hollywood, is it? Self-deprecation.
No, it's not.
Got to get rid of that.
Yeah, it's not good.
Isn't that why they like Brits out here, though? I think Brits are on vogue. It's certainly within the acting world. We've always been a little on vogue because, as opposed to American actors who are very much like, I'm incredible and I'm just doing my thing, and I was already naturally gifted. Brits have to be a bit more like, well, I don't really think I'm that good, but that's.
Do they do that?
I'm
trying to see if that's true for me in my experience with Brits.
Oh, have you met a lot of?
Yeah, I know a lot of Brits.
Arrogant Brits.
I mean, I just think that Brits come off arrogant because of their accent. Anyway,
what?
I love the accent.
Oh, but
it's so perfect and beautiful, and like it's very like.
I mean. As a real thespian, I don't know what you're talking about.
It doesn't even make sense to me that you would, with your pretty accent, that you would say self-deprecating things.
Especially comics, though, as well. Maybe it ties into comedy. Maybe I'm thinking more
comics.
More of the actors or more of the people that I know from England who are over here are comedians.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and comedians, that's part of the gig.
Yeah, we hate ourselves.
It's part of the... I gotcha. Yeah, it's okay. That's not a good thing, though, but anyway... Hating yourself.
Hey, well, actually, yeah, I got to be careful about that. Even just saying that. Because,
you don't want to put that out there.
No, you're right, and I've been putting that out for the majority of my life since I was a child.
Don't do it anymore.
All right.
I'm leaving here. When I leave
Yes,
here,
Your Grace. Is this
never,
is this a royal decree?
Yes, and then you're gonna have to say Your Grace after I say this. But after I leave this place, you will never say that again. Self-deprecate.
Yes, Your Grace. Yes.
Never again.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, Your Highness.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because you know what? That stuff really does affect you.
But I did hate myself for many years.
I
think I
understand.
learned to think that was okay to hate myself, and it's only over the last few years, real soul searching, real understanding what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. That
Right.
actually I go, I'm a very good person,
That's
morally
awesome.
and ethically on point.
That's awesome. So that was a story.
But
That was
still
something
got
that happened.
huge forehead,
Right.
you know.
That was there,
skin's
though.
not incredible.
No,
I could
stop.
have better
Stop.
abs. You know what I
Don't
mean?
do it. Stop. So that was a story from back then, and then you're walking
Had a
around with
hemorrhoid
that
a month
story
ago,
right here. Okay,
E.g.
but that's don't
Too much?
Too much information.
Really? I mean, that's what the podcast. That's what this is about.
Okay.
It's revealing. It's savage. It's honest. It's true.
And I haven't been very revealing, but anyway.
You've been, I think you've been the right level of revealing, but also, I mean, look, once you're here for a number of years, it's hard not to have the business acumen to be concise and careful about what you reveal and what
Well,
you
you have
don't.
to nowadays. Everything
Yeah.
you say gets twisted into something else.
How do you traverse something, for instance, like you said, you know, the Rob Zombie movie that your most recent one, you know, it was a very sexy role.
Sex head.
Very sexy and very sexual. The character sex head, but you're saying you're walking around with like tape over the nipples and stuff.
Yeah.
And then yet the
She
offshoot
was like
of that
a
is
quirky.
I play this infant child on
how do
a
you do that?
huge hit show, you know, with Rugrats. So
Well,
has that ever been a problem creatively where you've had to go, I want to do this, but does that rule me out of playing the
I don't
safe
do
stuff?
nude. I'm not doing I don't like in that movie. I'm not doing nudity. I'm still wearing clothes, although I have tape over my nipples. But
Sure.
I think the thing is,
There's nothing wrong with a good nipple.
Yeah, nipples are great.
I think we should free them.
I do too. The thing is, though, I do a lot of. The thing is this: I do cartoons. I have this thing that I do. I do kids shows, and then I am an artist, and I do act, and I do characters. I do different kinds of characters. So, like, my job is to do my God gifts to give them to the planet. So my job is to deliver my art in the form of different things. To entertain, to do acting, to do music, to do singing, to composing. Now, some of it's really sweet and tame and some of it's a little rough, but I am a full blood artist. So I feel like it's the parents' job to make sure their kids are watching what they should be and not watching what they shouldn't be. Just like my own kids, like I had to censor what I let them see of the work that I would do. Not that I was doing anything terribly racy, but like I did the movie Valley Girls and I had to do like a topless thing. And that thing has come up on the internet. I did that that was in the 80s, and my boobs are all over the internet from that movie.
That I did not research.
Okay. I don't know if you want to. But anyway, so what my point is like, yeah, great. Okay, now you're going to Google it, aren't you?
I'm not. I have no interest in looking at your boobs from the 80s.
Okay.
I'm more interested in talking to you now in the present. But
I don't believe you anyway.
no, I mean,
I
I don't think it's weird. I have a lot of friends actually who are porn actresses.
Okay.
So I have a number of porn actress friends, and if I wanted to look at friends or people that I've met doing something sexual, I have ample opportunity. It just once I've taken an interest in someone creatively. The thought of fucking them isn't really on my mind as a general
Really,
rule.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
and
really
also,
weird because usually creativity is attractive. So people like
but that's
I've met
what's
guys
most
that
attractive to me is that. Like,
that's really cool.
It's like a different. Now,
like
also there's a level of. I think there's a simplistic. Don't get me wrong. I've looked at plenty of people that I have met. Who have appeared naked in things. You know.
Yeah, I get it.
But that's because I met them and I was like, well, they're very attractive, but there's not really much there. There's no real interest there.
Yeah.
But once I have at least a mutual or career-based respect for someone, then there's no reason. That wasn't. Also,
I get it.
That wasn't my movie to see because I wasn't.
I
wasn't
totally
a
get it.
teen or a grown man watching that movie at that
It's such
time.
a great movie, though.
Oh,
Valley Girl was a great movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really just a well done, beautiful little love story. It was really, really great. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on Blu-ray now. But the thing for me as an actor, what I was saying is like, I can't even I just look at it as like I'm just a vessel to do art, and my body and all that's part of the vessel. And I actually did another movie a really long time ago called Street Music where I had to do total nudity, but it wasn't about total nudity. It was this beautiful, vulnerable love scene, and it would have looked really stupid for me to have like shorts on and tape over my boobs.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I really was just so lost in the experience of that character that I just try to think of it as like I just go in. I go in and I do my art, and I really just trust that so far my career's gone a long time, and I've done a lot of different things. And
longevity in this town,
Yeah.
I think that's the key. You know,
Yeah.
if you can, turn around and go, all right, I've been working for a number of years
Yeah.
now. And with success.
yeah, and it also gives you
Infinitely better.
it's so beautiful, and it also gives you like, you don't have to take everything so seriously anymore. It's kind of like, I don't really care. Like people will be like, oh, if you don't do that, you're gonna. I'm like,
you're like, I'm
no,
working. Don't worry about me. I'm working."
doing fine. Yeah, exactly. And and my greatest thing I've ever done, like my greatest of all the work and all the productions, is my children. You know, it's like that's so.
And you were topless for part of that as well.
I was naked.
Naked, definitely.
Yeah. But it's like everything has perspective. It's like life is so big and beautiful, and it's like art and work and music and all that. Everything has its place, and I do little kids' voices, and I do characters in movies, and all of it is great. And I'm not going to put a limit on myself.
Good. Nor should you. Yeah. Do you have? I know I'm keeping an eye on time as well,
Good,
just to make sure you can get to your next meeting. Do you have? Outside of obviously Tommy Pickles has been a rather seminal classic for both fans and for you in terms of a job. But are there lesser known characters that actually you were really madly in love with, and you wish the project had been extended or had gone to a bigger place where you got to explore the character more?
A lot of them were there were so many good ones. I mean, I did do the Powerpuff Girls are great.
Of course.
And that actually was very successful. However, they did a reboot and they replaced all our voices, all the Powerpuff Girls. So that was a little discouraging or disappointing because we create these voices for the show and it becomes huge. And then years later, then they finish the show, and years later they want to do a reboot, and everybody's all excited, and then they decide to change your voice. And that was a little disheartening, that particular thing. But everybody has a reason why they do what they do. It's just it's sad because you want to continue to do something that you were part of from the ground up. Mm-hmm. But so that one, not quite the same story, but there's been so many characters I've done. One was like Baby Mumble and Happy Feet, but I guess that blew up. That was really great. Babe and Babe 2. Babe 2 didn't become as successful as Babe 1, but it actually was a really incredible film. I did the voice of Babe and Babe 2. So I would like to have seen that one blow up because it was so phenomenally done by George Miller, the director. So I would say that movie. But it was successful, but it just wasn't as big as they probably anticipated.
Sometimes it's quite fun to just to get that extra opportunity to go, all right, well, like this, as a voice actor, when you get even presented in the first, just from the audition process, I'm sure probably in a lot of situations now, you don't even have to do that. They probably just go, yeah, let's get EG to do this because we know she can do it.
Yeah, sometimes.
But when you get sent those first, those breakdowns by the agency and they've got the picture and you go, oh, great. And you start to build the story of who this character is and how it's going to sound and what little inflections they're going to have, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And maybe it ends up just being a shorter project. You go, God, that character would have been fucking amazing to really extend, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that happens. But a lot of times you develop a character like that, like you're talking about, and then some random job comes around a couple of years later.
And you take that voice.
And then you just go, I know the voice I'm going to do. Yeah. And that's what happened with Tommy Pickles. Like Tommy Pickles, he talks like this and he's really sweet. And, but the truth is like I started doing that voice when I was in elementary school with my best friend. I mean, my voice was a little higher, but I created a little kid voice back then. So who knew that back then I was going to create a voice that was going to become a monumental character in history.
You were already working.
But the voice, that character was already developed. So you think that it's going to be a waste, but I'm finding that in doing this for so long that everything always just comes back around. Like I might have created a killer voice for something and I'll go like, okay, something will come up and I'll do it for that show.
There you go.
And it always works out like that.
And I'm going to wrap it on this.
You're going to wrap?
We have to wrap because you said it's 4:53. I just wanted to make sure. Oh, you're going to rap as in throw down some bars. I actually have done. I do a lot of freestyle rapping.
That's so good.
True story.
It's good.
Not for anyone else, just for my own amusement.
It's awesome.
Last thing I was going to ask you is, and I'm constantly asking myself this.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like everyone else who does and loves the craft of voiceover acting and work.
Yeah.
You constantly talking to yourself in the car, you're doing voices, there's always voices going on in your head. Yeah. Is everyone who does great voice acting a little bit fucking mental? Honestly, are we a little bit? Do you think there's a mild element of?
I think everybody looks crazy.
Split
That's
personality or something going on in there that
a
we
little
live
bit. I mean, because
vicariously through these different voices and characters.
Well, I think so. I mean, like, you know who's like the perfect example of that? That he was just so genius.
Robin Williams?
For his one body was Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, whom I got to work with on Happy Feet.
Yeah.
On Happy Feet.
You've watched the documentary?
I didn't see it yet.
It's such
I
a
want to
beautiful
see
film.
it. He's the most amazing man. But I worked with him in Australia on Happy Feet.
Right.
And I watched that exact thing you're talking about. The absolute sheer brilliant genius craziness of it all.
And then the darkness of that.
But he couldn't stop.
Couldn't silence it.
It all over. It was all over. And it would be like, you know, you want to take somebody like that and you want to just sit them down and just tell them.
So you found ways to bring the calm and bring the peace and bring
I
the silence.
did. We actually went to, we would all go out. It was Elijah Wood and Robin Williams and other bunch of
Never
really
heard
good,
of them.
Yeah, really great talented people. And we were in Australia and I could see that Robin wanted to be able to stop the madness. And we would go to dinner and I when I feel someone spinning a lot, because I get it, because I do it too.
Sure.
I find that the calmer I stay, the less they feel they need to do that, and then they just calm down, and then it makes it really easy for them to handle.
With comedians when they're constantly trying to do bits and
Yeah,
constantly
can't take
on,
it.
and you're just like, bro, just bring it down for a second.
Yeah, and
Let's
that's a
have
really sweet thing to do
conversation.
because sometimes they're not aware that they're doing that. My brother's a stand-up; he's the same way, and I sometimes have to go, Sam.
Not everything has to be a joke.
Yeah, not everything has to be a joke. So so it's a beautiful thing to be able to see it and know you have it too, and know when you can really help someone by just keeping calm for them.
Well, I love that. First of all, what is not a joke is your presence. It's been wonderful.
Thank
It's
you
been
so
very
much.
insightful and really enjoyable. And
So
I hope we can stay in touch and
we'll stay in touch.
have another chat at some point in the future. If people haven't checked out all of your music, your website, maybe some of them are budding voice actors. I know there's quite a few people who are always asking me, hey, what's pointers?
Yeah.
So here is a wonderful resource. Head to egdaily.com.
Yeah.
And check out that course. And you can just, it's like a digital download. So
It's a digital download. It's filmed in a live audience, and I have some guest speakers. But there's
that.
There's
masterclass. It's a masterclass.
It's kind of like a masterclass. There's also a one-woman autobiographical musical that I produced and starred in that's on there. But also, find me on Instagram, Real EG Daily.
At Real EG Daily.
At Real EG Daily, that's Twitter. And then I also answer messages.
Where the live show is going to be as well when you're doing
all over my social media. I'll post things. So if you're following me, then I'll just say, I'm going to be doing this thing, or I'm sneaking a little performance here or there, or I'm doing a little private seminar, or whatever it is.
At Real EG
just
Daily.
At Real EG Daily.
There you go.
Keeping
Thank
it real.
you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
Your Grace.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your
Thank you.
I was going to kiss your hand. I'll do that afterwards. Thanks very much. See you guys.
That's sweet. Cool.